Chapter 2. Three Old Ladies Knit the Socks of Death. Have you ever had a memory that you were absolutely sure was real, but everyone around you swore it never happened? That was my life for the rest of the school year. I was stuck in this full-time, 24/7 gaslighting experiment where the only subject was me. I tried to talk about it. I'd corner Grover between classes and say, "Hey, about the museum." And he'd get all fidgety. He'd start chewing on his fork, or his eyes would dart around like he was looking for an escape route. He'd stammer and say he had no idea what I was talking about. But the look in his eyes, he wasn't just confused. He was scared. It got worse. The letters in my textbook started swimming together even more than usual. My dyslexia was on overdrive. My grades tanked from C's to D's and then straight to F's. I got more detentions for being distracted, for not paying attention. But how was I supposed to concentrate on American history when I had a crystal clear memory of my math teacher turning into a bat-winged demon and exploding into dust? The only class I didn't fail was Mr. Bruner's Latin. I started looking forward to it, which is a weird thing for a kid like me. I felt like if I could just get this one thing right, I could prove I wasn't a total screw-up. So for his final exam, I actually studied. I really studied. I learned how to tell a centaur from a satyr. I memorized which gods were married to which goddesses and all the horrible things they did to each other. I was ready. But when I took the test, Mr. Brunner just stood there with this sad, disappointed look on his face. He made me feel like I'd already failed. After the exam, I was still thinking about his expression. I needed to know what I did wrong. I went back to the teacher's lounge to ask him. The door was ajar, and I heard voices inside. It was Mr. Brunner and Grover. I stopped, my hand hovering near the door. "Worried about Percy, sir," Grover was saying. His voice was trembling. "A kindly one at the school, all the way to the end of the term? I've never seen one get that close. We will simply have to redouble our efforts." Mr. Brunner's voice was heavy, tired. "The summer solstice deadline, that is the problem. We have to keep him alive until then." My blood ran cold. Keep me alive? "But I'm a failure," Grover moaned. "I'm the worst. I have to protect him. And if I fail with this one, too—" "You have not failed, Grover," Mr. Brunner said, but he sounded unconvinced. "You just have to bring him to camp safely. Form your own judgment about the boy once you see him in his element." I couldn't listen anymore. I felt sick, like I was an experiment they were talking about. My Latin textbook, full of pictures of the monsters I'd just been tested on, slipped from my hand and hit the floor with a loud thud. The voices inside stopped. I picked up the book and pushed the door open. I tried to look casual, like I hadn't just overheard them talking about me, like I was some kind of package to be delivered. I stammered out some dumb question about one of the test answers. Mr. Brunner just looked at me sadly. "Percy," he said, "this is not the place for that discussion. Go enjoy your summer." The message was clear. Get lost. I left. The last day of the term was a blur. I packed my bags, said goodbye to no one, and got on a Greyhound bus headed for the city. Grover was on the same bus. He said he was heading home for the summer, too. The whole ride, he kept looking at me, then looking away like he wanted to say something. About 100 miles from the city, the bus shuddered to a stop. A plume of smoke billowed from the engine. We were stranded in the middle of nowhere. It was hot, and the air was thick with the smell of an oncoming storm. While the driver was cursing at the engine, I looked out the window. Across the 4-lane highway was a little roadside fruit stand. It looked ancient, and sitting in front of it, in rocking chairs, were 3 old women. They were ancient, too. Skin like old parchment. Dressed in faded cotton dresses. They were knitting, but they weren't knitting sweaters or scarves. They were knitting a single massive pair of socks. The color of the yarn was electric, an impossible blue that seemed to hum in the air. As I watched, they stopped knitting. All 3 of them turned and looked directly across the highway, directly at me. It wasn't a casual glance. It was like they were looking through me, like I was a specimen in a jar. The one on the right took out a giant pair of scissors. They were gleaming gold, big enough to shear a sheep. She passed them to the woman in the middle. I saw Grover's reflection in the window. His face was dead white. He was watching them, too. The old woman in the middle stretched the blue yarn tight. Then, with a single deliberate movement, she brought the shears together. Snip. The thread was cut. I felt a jolt, like I'd touched a live wire. Inside the bus, Grover grabbed my arm. His grip was like iron. "Get back on the bus," he hissed. "Both of us. Now." The driver finally got the bus started, and as we pulled away, I looked back. The fruit stand was gone. There was just an empty roadside and the three old women in their rocking chairs, staring after our bus. Grover was trembling. He looked like he was going to be sick. "Percy," he said, his voice barely a whisper, "when we get to the bus station, you have to let me walk you home. Promise me?" I promised. I didn't know what I had just seen. I didn't know why cutting a piece of yarn had terrified my best friend. But I knew one thing for sure. I was in more trouble than I could possibly imagine. That is the end of chapter 2. If you made it here, let me know. I would love feedback.